September the 25th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at the forecast from the National Hurricane Center down in Miami, Florida. And we've had these storms going on for a couple of weeks. Gabrielle was the first one that's now post-tropical. More than likely, some of this storm could move into the mouth of the Mediterranean through the Straits of Gibraltar. It is kind of an odd path to loop off Florida and then come straight back in. It's almost what it's happening. Now here we have Humberto, 60 mile per hour, but it more than likely is going to get caught up in this low pressure system that pulled Gabrielle out. Now it's going to move further to the east, again 60 miles per hour, moving northwest at 6 miles per hour. So that's in this direction. Now, more than likely, it could come inside of the island of Bermuda, right there in that little black dot. And that's really closer than we've seen from anything since Hurricane Aaron came in there as a very strong storm. Now, here we have a 90% chance, and this is why I'm coming here. Let me stop there a moment. Is that they've let an AI take over the initial releases from the Hurricane Center, and what you're seeing is they will forecast something that has not even moved off the coast of Africa to form, or starting to pinpoint areas that may become active. And usually it was always after an active area was seen and looked like it was going to track towards us, things like that, right? Well, so we haven't had that many, but it's been, again, for the last week, getting busy with these two storms and now the new one. But guys, there's a lot of weather people that are continually watching all of these, and even the initial forecast and the first two showed they were not going to hit anywhere near land. And what happens is it's the boy who cries wolf effect. In other words, you keep talking about something that if you really read up on the situation, you know it's not going to happen. Then people stop listening to you. And that's one of the reasons I haven't talked about anything, because it was not important until now, and things are starting to change. So our friends on the southeast Atlantic coast, I want you to pay attention to this one. It's saying as of 2 p.m. Eastern, Central Caribbean Sea and Southwestern Atlantic. This is AL 94. Showers and thunderstorms are increasing in association with a tropical wave located in Hispaniola and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Again, 90% chance of development. An area of low pressure is expected to form along the way of tonight or early Friday when it moves near the southeast Bahamas. It looks like it's going to envelop the Bahamas. Now it's looking like we may get a bump into possibly Florida and a little further up, but it still may be going to, before it does a full impact, may be pulled out in behind the storm number 2. It says this low is expected to become a tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central and northwest Bahamas late Friday, which is tomorrow, or over the weekend, and then track northwestward or northward over the southwest Atlantic. Now, northwestward is towards the U.S. Interest in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Turks, Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of this storm system. Regardless of development, heavy rains, gusty winds are likely along or across the region during the next couple of days. While there is significant uncertainty in the long-range track and intensity of the system, the chances of wind, rainfall, and storm surge impacts for a portion of the southeast U.S. coast are increasing. Interest in this area should monitor the progress of the system. That's why I'm here now. I'm looking at some of the models. Let's take a look at the satellite images first. Now, this is a wide Atlantic view. It covers the entire section of this side of the planet, or the northern hemisphere, this side. Storms moving out towards Hawaii. The system's trying to form in this area, guys. So this one's not being watched yet. We'll have to pay attention. But this is the system I'm concerned about right now. It looks like the models are going to take it from here, push it across the Bahamas and up into this area, maybe bump Florida, and get caught back up, moving out, and possibly combining with this storm around this point. It depends on what happens here. Notice this system right here. If it hits this, it's going to continue to push it a little further to the west. And then if it gets close enough to this storm, guys, it's happened before where they get so close to each other they can rotate around each other or combine. And that may be what we see that happens before this storm is pulled back off. Right now, we're starting to get moisture along the southeast, much needed, by the way. Florida, you're starting to see some. Watch as it comes, starting to get into the panhandle this evening and popping up now along this area on the east coast of Florida. And let's take a close-up natural look at this. Here we're getting into the islands here, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and that area. Here, the southern Bahamas. This is what we're dealing with. It's starting to get into warmer water, which is very warm because we really haven't had a storm in the Caribbean. So the thing that's keeping it semi-quiet now, and it's not going to last much longer, is it's going to have to come across the island here to get to the Bahamas. But it's starting to push. Again, they're saying north and northwest. And looking at it in the infrared, you can see the explosions of storms throughout the day, just today, and now moving into this area here. It's all about to get involved, and again, in the southern Bahamas, so pay very close attention to it. See those high clouds? And then here, it probably get through a recycle overnight, and we'll be watching it in the morning close up. Now, let's take a look at some of the models. Now, this is one of our most reliable models of all. This is the nav Gemma from the U.S. Navy, and it's probably going to get better and better without DEI involved. The little dot here, guys, that is Bermuda. Second storm here going around it. But this one's a larger storm that's about to go through the Bahamas. Check this out. It's Florida right there, guys. So you're along the east coast there, west of the Everglades, see, just right in that area. And it pulls off just in time if this works out through this low pressure gap, becoming very strong. If it follows this path, Bermuda, you're going to be hit very hard by the second storm. This one looks like it'll go around you, but we're still a few days out. But Florida, right here, you guys have got to really start paying attention. Let's look at the timing on this. Now, I've got this paused on the 29th. See your timestamp here, and I'll play it forward slowly. It's already halfway up through the Bahamas, but you can see the low pressure starting to already catch the edge of Florida. So today's the 25th. So by the 29th, things are going to be going downhill if the model stays the same. And we'll move forward with it here. Still the 29th. Still the 29th, the 30th. Centered over the northern Bahamas right there. Keep going forward with it. 30th still. On that day is going to be important because around the 30th, the last day of the month, right in there before October 1st, this thing's going to be very close to glancing into Florida. Anything changing the path would either be a positive or negative. Right now, you'd be taking a lick, but a minimum lick. You may not even get it into hurricane force. Well, I take that back. You probably will see some hurricane force winds. But now there's something else that's going on that you notice the rain we were talking about moving through the southeast in Florida. Guys, that's a system that's moving from west to east this way. And that's going to add to the opening in the high pressure area. In other words, you've got this storm pushing up and you've got a front pulling off, and that could be the salvation for a direct impact, on the east coast is the combination of this front and that opening following the storm. But it's very powerful by that point. Let's take a look at the GFS model. That's kind of the other end of the spectrum on these models from closer to the coast. So let's take a look at this. And here's your secondary storm, and this is the one that's going to scrape through. Look at that, right into South Carolina, looping back down. You see that? We don't know what's going to happen, but it's a difference in the way the low pressure is opening and where the front comes across. Watch it again, scraping, becoming very powerful. You can see its purple plows right into the central coast of South Carolina. That's why we're going to have to pay very close attention to it, guys. Let's look at the spaghetti model. Now, this is going to be the controlling factor in a lot of ways, and this is Tropical Storm Umberto, but guys, it's at 60 miles an hour moving northwest at 6. But notice it's about to become a Cat 1, then a Cat 3 major hurricane all the way into this area. So it will be influencing storm number 3. Still by Tuesday at 2 p.m., 105 mile per hour Cat 2. Check that out. So if too much changes in this forecast, it's going to change where storm number 3 happens. But again, this one, Humberto, is going to be powerful. Now think about that. It looks like the inside storm closer to us will be just that strong. But guys, things are way off in the Atlantic. The intertropical convergence zone is way off. These storms are turning north too quickly because they're outside of the normal zone. And what it's doing is affecting the heat patterns of our ocean. Again, we haven't had anything seriously in the Gulf or the Caribbean, and just airing out into the Atlantic with a couple of other storms. But our Father told us it won't be by floods, but by heat, but by fire and scorching of men. And this is how you set that beginning up, is to not cool off the oceans, or the earth tilts far enough to where they're going somewhere else and not where they need to be. So the closer these two get, the better. And we don't want any damage ashore, but we need more cooling in the Atlantic. Or guys, we're going to have stormier winters because you're going to have warm, moist air getting caught up along the northeast coast. And that's going to bring blizzards and all of that crap, more of them. Then next year is going to be extremely warm because of it. They're not going to have the full time to cool off during the winter. The hurricanes work as God's air conditioner, or we would not exist. They pull all this warm, moist air off the surface and get it thousands of feet into the cold air in the atmosphere, drops it back down. It's that refrigeration cycle that keeps us alive. So Umberto itself has got to be watched, because notice here is Bermuda, all right? And we're just going to have to see how that goes, because that's close enough to stir interest in the Outer Banks right there. You see it? And here are the Outer Banks right under their logo. 60 miles an hour, again, 6 miles per hour at 5 p.m. advisory. And this is for our third storm, guys, right here. Now, this is the Navy model. This is the Canadian model. They're two of the most interesting. Now, the GFS is not listed in this spaghetti model yet, but this shows both of these models, Navy and the Canadian model, show this thing getting close to Florida here from the Navy and then being pulled out. Canadian model pulls it right through here and then back out too. That's the best possible scenario. We need the cooling, but if we could keep it just close enough to shore to cool the Gulf Stream, things like that, that's better than nothing. But the GFS is following all of these models right into South Carolina. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 following that now. Will be changing by late tonight. It'll be changed by in the morning. But it's time to pay attention to it, guys. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.